the era of cancel culture, no one is afraid to be honest about the truth. Well, cancel me, because I'm going to protect the people of this city. And if you come into this country, in this city, and think you're going to harm innocent New Yorkers and innocent migrants and asylum seekers, this is not the mayor you want to be in the city under.
All right, welcome back here to The Hill on NewsNation. That, of course, the New York City Mayor, Eric Adams, today pledging to protect the people of his city from migrant criminals. Now, today, he shared plans to speak sometime this week with Tom Homan, President-elect Trump's border czar. The mayor says they're going to talk at some point here about how to keep his city safe, and he wants to listen to him. Now, this marks a shift in Adams' stance, and while that's happening in New York, let me just try to paint a little picture here of what's also happening down at the southern border.
Why was your daughter alone at the border?
I found a coyote and I paid for them to bring her to me. She came alone. It was just the coyote. The last time I talked to my daughter was Saturday, and I haven't heard anything since.
All right, of course, Jorge Ventura there. That is a woman claiming to be the mother of this 4-year-old little girl. Talking to our Jorge Ventura, the mother says her daughter was smuggled into the United States from Honduras. Now, the photo taken by a human smuggler while they were in Mexico. You could see there in the background even more kids in that picture who were also likely smuggled. Now, the little 4-year-old is reportedly still in U.S. immigration custody, and it's unclear as to if or where she will be released. Now, she is one of thousands of unaccompanied children who have arrived at the border. Our Allie Bradley reports just yesterday alone, U.S. authorities found 315 unaccompanied children at the border. Think about it this way. In some communities, that's enough kids to fill an entire elementary school. And that's just in one day. Over the years, the numbers are staggering. I want to show you basically what it's been over the last 10 years or so. And you really could break this down into 3 pieces here. So this is 2015 on the end and then 2024. So this was the end of the Obama administration and then most of the Trump administration. You can see this was still in the tens of thousands, right? But then what happened in 2020? COVID hit, of course, and so that number plummeted. But it doesn't compare. It's 2 to 3x, if not higher than that in some spots, to what's happened in the last 4 years, 140,000, 152,000. This is southern border unaccompanied minor apprehensions. Another way to put it, children. And just since President Biden has been in office, 542,000 children. Southern border unaccompanied minor encounters. It is an eye-popping number. I mentioned Allie Bradley. She joins us live from the southern border. She's in Eagle Pass, Texas. Once again, Allie, I mean, 315 kids in a day. As I said, that's basically like, in a lot of spots, that's an elementary school. Why is this happening now? Right. And those are huge numbers.
Yeah, there were 77 in the sector I'm standing in alone yesterday, which is a staggering number to hear. And the reason why it's happening, it's all very orchestrated, but there are a myriad of reasons why it's happening. That story with that little girl, the woman had been living in the United States for a few years. Sources tell me that little kid was likely left with grandparents or a family member until they were able to orchestrate her movement into the United States. But this is happening each and every day. And a lot of times the conversation is that these kids are sent over for the chance at a better life. The parents stay back. But that's not what we're seeing happening, and that's not what HSI agents have told me, including former Special Agent Victor Avila, who has said a lot of times these kids are used as payment. They'll come up to the border and interact with the cartel, the parent will, and the cartel will say, how much money do you have? And they'll say, I don't have much. And they'll say, well, you have a kid, leave him here, and we'll promise we'll put him a note card on there like that, and we'll get them back to you. So that is what's happening. And then when these kids are coming over, the reality under this administration is they're not turned away. We have seen more kids under this administration than the previous 6 years combined, as you just mentioned. So these kids have a better shot of coming in. And it's a staggering statistic to really try to wrap your head around this one, Blake, because I've been tracking the unaccompanied kids. When we're seeing 10 to 12,000 people a day at the border, we were talking about 200 to 500 kids. We're talking about 3,000 people at the border, and we're talking about 300 kids. So that number should have dropped substantially, and it just hasn't. So now what happens to these kids? Well, Border Patrol will take them, will bring them over to ICE, will transport them to ICE, who will then coordinate with Office of Refugee Resettlement, which is under the Human Services umbrella, which is now going to be helmed by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So that is something that they will have to deal with. This is not a Tom Homan issue. This is an HHS issue. And the reality, Blake, is if they get a number on that note card, that's a win. It's a body that they can call, someone answers, that kid can go to that home. They don't do DNA testing unless the parent gives consent.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.